And the very first step to tying your shoe, once your foot is in, is tighten the laces. And to do that, you start with, well, on your shoe it looks like there's just 2 laces, but you want to pull them up, make sure it's tight. Or in yours, in case it's a different type of shoe, you can just pull it. Make sure it's tight. Then, the first step, or the second step rather, is you want to cross your laces. One goes that way, the other goes that way. Step number 3, is you want to wrap the lace underneath the 2 cross laces and pull it tight. Very good, Rebecca.
Thank you very much.
You're doing well.
Thanks.
The 4th step is you make a loop with your left lace.
Is this too big?
Well, the way to tell, Rebecca, if it's too big or too small is you want to be able to just fit 2 fingers through the loop.
Oh, mine's too big. Okay, better.
That looks good.
Thanks.
Nice job. Step number 5, number 5, is you take the right lace and you wrap it around your thumb and your first finger so that that loop is locked in place. Very good, Rebecca.
Thanks.
Then you stick that right lace to the right of your thumb, the outside of it, push through with your index, and at the same time, pull. Great.
I got it?
Very good.
Thanks. My bows
Now-
aren't as pretty as yours, so.
They're not quite as pretty, but that's okay. You're still a beginner. Now I want you to do the same on your own with your left foot.
Okay.
So go for it.
So I'm going to tighten it,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm going to cross it,
Very good.
and then I'm going to make it tight.
Good evening, Jennifer. Welcome to Todd Schulman's class on how to tie your shoe. The objective of tonight's lesson is for you to be able to tie your shoe all by yourself without any assistance from me and to utilize the steps and strategies that we go over tonight. You ready to get started?
Yes.
All right, here we go. So, for the first strategy that we're going to use for this is that I want you to be able to identify an untied shoe. An untied shoe looks like the following. The laces are undone, there's no pretty bow, there's no nothing, it just looks like a mess. When you see an untied shoe, do you have any idea what you might have to do with it?
No.
No? Well, let me tell you. When you see an untied shoe, you just go ahead and tie it.
Okay.
And to do so, cross the laces, go through, pull, do the loop, pull again. Do it one more time. When you come up and you see an untied shoe, you go ahead and tie it. Cross the laces, go through, pull, make one loop, other loop, and pull again. So why don't you go ahead. I'm going to put a shoe out here, and you tell me what you're supposed to do.
Okay, so I need to tie it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So you identify the untied shoe, and what do you do again when you see an untied shoe?
Tie it.
Good. Give it a shot.
Okay, so I cross the laces,
Uh-huh.
and then I put it through and pull,
Uh-huh.
and then I can't remember what to do.
Can't remember, huh?
No.
Well, no big deal. No worries. That was a great first try.
Thanks.
But you know what? Let's try another strategy that might work better.
Okay.
All right. So for this next strategy, I'm going to identify 5 explicit steps that I want you to talk out loud to yourself when we do it.
Okay.
All right? So, step number 1. You tighten the shoelaces. Step number 2, you cross the shoelaces. Step number 3, you go through and you pull them together. Step number 4 is you make a 2-finger loop. And 5, you cross the loop and pull it together. So what I want you to do now is try utilizing those 5 steps, but I want you to say them out loud as you do so.
Okay.
And if it also helps, think to yourself internally what those steps might look like too.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Go ahead and give it a shot.
Okay. So I see an untied shoe. So I'm going to tie it.
Uh-huh.
So first I tighten the laces.
Uh-huh.
Then I cross them.
Very good.
Okay, then I put it through and pull.
Very good.
And then I make a loop.
Uh-huh.
And then I don't remember the next step. Sorry.
That was no worries. You did a terrific job there.
Thank you.
But you know what? I think we could try one last strategy that might do the trick.
Okay.
All right? So for this last strategy, we're going to do the same thing, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the most important steps, the most important parts of tying your shoe.
Okay.
So we're still going to talk out loud to ourselves, but I'm also going to be slow so you can remember the most important steps.
Okay.
So, step number 1, you tighten those shoelaces.
Okay.
Step number 2, you cross the shoelaces.
Mhm.
Step number 3, put the right shoelace through the left and you pull them together.
Okay.
Step number 4, you make a loop. You make the loop, excuse me. And then step number 5, you put the other lace around the loop, through the back of the finger, and pull together.
Okay.
All right. I want you to try giving this a shot this time.
Okay.
So here is your untied shoe. Go for it.
Okay, so I see an untied shoe.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to tie it. So I pull the laces. I cross the laces. And I put this through. And then I pull.
Very good.
And then I make a loop. And then a loop. And then I don't remember.
You're so close, Jennifer.
Okay.
So close. I'm going to show you one more time because
Okay.
you got so close. And then I want you to give it a shot all by yourself.
Okay.
One last time to assess to see if you got it.
Okay.
All right? So pay close attention because you were so close that time. So once again, we know from the first strategy tonight, you see an untied shoe, what do?
Tie it.
Very good. Strategy number 2, you want to talk out loud to yourself as you do this, as you begin tying your shoe.
Okay.
And strategy number 3 is think of the most important steps and say them out loud slowly to yourself.
Okay.
All right? So, you tighten the shoelaces is step number 1. Step number 2, you cross the shoelaces. Step number 3, you take the right shoelace, go underneath the left, and you pull them together. Step number 4, you make that 2-finger loop, take the right shoelace, go around the loop, behind the thumb, and pull.
Okay.
All right. Now I want you to give it one final shot, utilizing all 3 strategies that we've learned tonight.
Okay, I hope I can do this.
Me too. I have faith.
Okay. So, I see an untied shoe.
What do you do?
I'm going to tie it. So, I tighten the laces, cross the laces, and then put it through and pull.
Uh-huh.
And then I make a loop. And then I go around and behind my thumb. And then I pull.
Hey,
Yay!
look at that, Jennifer.
I did it.
Congratulations. You did it. Tie your shoe. Have a good night.
Hi, this is the reflection part of my teaching video, and after taking the EDUC 518 course and reviewing my original teaching video, I realized that my teaching video was actually pretty good. Without even realizing it, I incorporated several of the theories and strategies that we discussed over the course of this quarter. That being said, there were certainly some things I could have improved upon. For example, before the lesson began, I had already made up my mind as to how I was going to set the pace of the lesson. And so during the lesson, I didn't really do a very good job of assessing where my student was at, and continued to be probably a little bit too elementary as the lesson continued. But that was just a function, I think, of just being inexperienced. As far as my recreation video goes, I think I did a very good job of incorporating the three theories that I did, as well as the strategies. The two most effective strategies that I thought were most helpful were self-talk and highlighting the most critical elements to remember from the lesson. I know when I was a student in school, I kind of talked to myself a lot, but that's a separate thing. But also, I really appreciated it when the professor, or the teacher rather, highlighted what it was really good for us to remember in order to learn the material. And finally, if there were going to be any changes now that I've taught this lesson once, I think I would certainly do a lot more preparation. Going into the, even though I generated this lesson plan, I wrote it out, I wrote an analysis paper clearly. I didn't do a lot of prep work in practicing my presentation practicing my lesson plan before delivering it, and I think it would have been I would have benefited more had I done that. But anyways, this concludes my reflection. Thank you very much.